In this video, I'll be sharing a trick that I use to create drum kits for boom bap or hip hop or any type of drum fills. And really, it's pretty simple. Basically, what you want to take is you want to take any drum loop, any drum fill that you like, and chop up each of the different parts of it, each of the different transients, and I'll explain what that is. And you want to take those and put them into some sort of drum sampler like Battery 4, or if you have Ableton, you have the drum rack, which is built in, and basically you have a drum kit that works and all of the samples work together well. It's pretty simple and kind of obvious, but I feel like a lot of the time we don't really think of things like this, and we're spending hours in our sample files trying to find samples that work together, and we keep swapping things out. And there's numerous benefits to this trick of just taking a drum fill or a drum loop that you like. Right off the bat, all of the samples are at the same pitch, or at a pitch or a tone that works for each one, and it actually works together, first of all. Second of all, they're all processed the same. So a lot of the time samples are pre-processed with compression, or sometimes even distortion, or sometimes they're being clipped on purpose and it creates like a really hard kick or something. But the thing is, with this trick, all of the samples that you chop out are going to be processed the same, because it's the same drum loop, and therefore the volume's going to be the same, and they're going to work together immediately. So if you have trouble as a producer choosing drums that punch, or you find drums but you can't make them sound good together, then this will make sure that everything is processed the same right off the bat, right when you chop it. And the final reason why this trick is cool is that I said choose transients and not drum hits, and the transients are basically the peaks of the sound. So the reason why I say that is that with this trick you can find interesting percussion and interesting artifacts and hits that the original drummer or the composer didn't actually intend. So you'll find like clicks and different parts of the sample that were unintentional but that sound good and creative and abstract. That took me a long ass time. Anyways, alright, so I'm in Ableton now, and I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about with the transients. And basically I have this loops library where I took a bunch of breaks and I sorted them out and just threw them into this huge kind of library full of different kits that I named. Oh shit, the volume's too loud. Basically, a transient is a peak in the sound. So if I get this random kit right here, or this random loop, everywhere where you see the loudness going higher than everything else, that's a transient. So right here there's a transient. It's kind of like, think of it as a slope, and the tip of the slope is the transient. And so I said cut out each of the transients because transients can be any type of hit, even hits that aren't actual drums and that weren't intentional by the drummer, and those can make interesting percussion sounds. As long as they have a nice sharp transient, they're gonna sound like a piece of percussion or some sort of percussion. Now with this drum loop, what I can do is I can go ahead and chop up each of the transients, and really it's pretty simple. You just look for the darker parts of the sound. I'm hitting Command E right now to split the clip at each of the transient points. I'm just finding wherever the audio goes higher than usual, and I'm cutting that out. And this can also work for fills, and you can use the samples to create your own fills. Alright, so this is what our original break sounded like. And let me turn the volume up a little bit. And now we can get a drum rack. If you're in Ableton, you have the drum rack, but if you're in other digital audio workstations, just find any type of drum sampler that works for you. It can be a VST like battery 4 or whatever you want to use. And I can just go ahead and drag each of these samples into the drum rack. And I'm gonna stop at 8 because I have 8 pads on my MIDI keyboard, so that's where I'm gonna stop at. You can selectively choose whatever hits you like. And now I can go ahead and play this. Let me put this at full level on my keyboard so that it's at 100% velocity. And I'm gonna, okay. Basically, you can play however you want to. So right now I can create a MIDI clip, and I can play this. Now what I can also do is shape the samples. So for example, on the snares, I can fade out the sample, make it nice and clean sounding, and kind of cut it out a little bit faster. So you want to adjust this to a reasonable level. And then I'll do that on the other snare as well. Just cut out all that unnecessary reverb and fade it out. And then you have a nice sounding drum loop. Again, I didn't have to touch the volume. I didn't have to pitch things to make them work. It's already done for you. And overall, there's a ton of different types of kits. Like if you're more into house, you can get loops that are house breaks, or you can get loops that are trap breaks. You can literally buy a trap loop kit and chop out all the samples that you like. And you can even go with hip hop stuff, obviously. There's a lot of punchy kicks and nice snares out there in loops. And a lot of times we just look at the loop as a whole and we overlook it or see it as cheating. But really you can see it as a processed drum kit that is shaped and that is made to be chopped up for you. So definitely invest in loops. What else was I gonna say? It can honestly be the biggest pain in the ass trying to find samples to make a realistic fill, for example, and I feel like this technique can help a lot of producers, so that's why I was gonna share it. Like finding organic sounds that work together can be the hardest thing. So overall, this trick creates an organic sounding kit that works together right off the bat. You don't have to swap samples out anymore. So I would invest in getting a lot of loops, like drum loops, and like fills. And this is a good way to create your own fills and your own drum loop. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. If you did like this video, then like it, obviously, and subscribe, of course, if you want to see more of my videos. Other than that, thanks for watching. You were watching Sari.tv, and I'll see you guys next time.
I'm perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's just perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's just perfect.